Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jean Hellard. I'm the Executive Director of the Buffalo Niagara Sales and Marketing Executives, and I'd like to welcome you to our virtual seminar today, Boost Your Game with Strengths-Based Leadership, presented by Nermeen Zakari. She is the founder and Chief Empowerment Officer of Strength Edge Coaching. A little bit about Nermeen. She is a practitioner of strengths, particularly how to strategically apply them to accelerate performance, energy, relationships, and results. Nermeen comes to strengths coaching with more than 15 years of experience in the training industry at Highland Hospital and Xerox Corporation. She holds a master's degree in education, specializing in instructional design for online learning from Capella University. I had the pleasure of meeting Nermeen when she became a member of the National Association of Women Business Owners, and I had the opportunity to see one of her seminars for their national group. So I invited her to come to share her thoughts with us today. So welcome, Nermeen.
Well, thank you so much, Jean. Go ahead and start sharing here. All right. So friends, what is strengths-based leadership? I'm going to give away the answer on the next slide. Strengths-based leadership is all about making extraordinary things happen by focusing on the strengths and potential in yourself and your team. While we warm up here, let me ask you a few questions. This is for you to consider. When you evaluate your own performance, think about what you did really well, or do you focus on the mistakes that you made? When you focus on staff performance, what do you wonder about more? What are they doing wrong, or what are they doing right? What might be possible if we focused on the potential positives and strengths as much or more than the potential negative and weaknesses? And for you to consider what fears does this raise? What comes up for you as you consider the possibilities? I'd love for you to jot down some ideas and feel free to post in the chat as well. And we'll come back to revisit your thoughts here in just a little bit. In every section of our conversation today, I'm going to give you an exercise or time to reflect instead of just lecturing. I hope that's okay with you. And so let me share with you what we'll cover today. We're going to explore the following. We're going to talk about why look at strengths in the first place. We'll cover a little bit of history. So where did the concept come from anyway, and what do we know? And then we'll talk about the necessary steps to lead with strengths. To cover some logistics, halfway through, we'll stop for a few moments to kind of check in and look at the chat, take some questions. And then at the end, we will do a drawing. The lucky winner will get a copy of a special book that I'll tell you about when we get there. So there's definitely a lot more to learn than we can cover in our short time together today. So I will also make sure that you know how to stay connected with me, which I would absolutely love. All right. I'd love to hear from you. Why is this topic important to you? Feel free to unmute and share your thoughts or pop some ideas into the chat.
I'll share.
Please.
I'm actually certified leadership executive coach, and I'm getting certified. I'm certified in Hogan personality assessments, and I'm getting certified in Strengths Finders. And I think this is a great tool to use in my coaching practice, and also through my organization I run with Leadership Buffalo.
Excellent. Well, congratulations for that, and wonderful to have you here, and looking forward to your insights as well. Thank you, Athia. Understanding our strengths helps increase our self-awareness. Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't know what we're dealing with. If we don't have that self-awareness, we don't know where to start, what to work on, what to do more of. So increases our self-awareness. Thank you. Any other thoughts?
Nermeen, I would say my mom always tells me that I underestimate myself, that I always, set myself up to not be disappointed by myself. And so, just want to make sure that that's not being translated to the people on my team or others, people that I work with.
Well, this is a wonderful place to look, and a place to increase your confidence, right? So that that you're not selling yourself short, and really reaching that place of exceptional performance and fulfillment as well. Appreciate you sharing that, Michaela. All right. Excellent. Let me tell you a little bit kind of about how I kind of got to be here in front of you today. So my world shifted the day that I discovered my strengths. And that was with the StrengthsFinder 2.0 at the time, now called Clifton Strengths. That was about 10 years ago. I started to understand so much about my past. I stopped coming down so hard on myself and started to appreciate my gifts, to own them versus wishing I could be like somebody else. And that's how I came into coaching, so that I could help others make that same shift up. Fast forward to 2021, still early days in the pandemic, I was then introduced to positive intelligence, which allowed me to experience the next major shift in my life, to an even more positive approach to so many things in all areas of my life. So not only did I experience a huge shift in growing my mental fitness, which I'll tell you about in a second, I also immediately saw how it aligns so beautifully with strengths. Because I could, even though I know my strengths, I know how I contribute, I know what I need, I would oftentimes still get triggered. So learning how to increase my mental fitness was I would call it the next step in ensuring lifelong application of effective strengths use, without a doubt. And I share this with you to highlight the journey that I've personally been on and that I take my clients on. It's the process that I guide my clients through. So this is the Strengths Edge approach, to help clients lead with their own strengths so they can bring out the full potential of their team, helping them to achieve peak happiness and peak performance and never want to leave. The process that I use, we always start with uncovering our natural talents via the Clifton Strengths Assessment. Next, we spend some time talking about what effective strengths use looks like. Am I really using my strengths to accelerate my performance, or are they getting in my way? From there, we focus on what we call self-acuity, and that's a self-awareness of contributions of my strengths and also what I need in order to perform at my best. And from there, I learn, now that I understand who I am, start to really focus on the people in my team, people in my circles, and about what's special and unique in how they contribute, start to appreciate and leverage their gifts as well. Again, that's others' acuity. And then we move into positive intelligence, increasing our mental fitness to handle life's challenges with a positive mindset instead of a negative one. And this is what ensures the lifelong application of strengths. Our focus today in our conversation will be to touch on the first critical part of the journey, that is becoming fluent in the language of strengths. Why look at strengths in the first place? All right. We're going to do a little challenge. If you have a piece of paper handy and a pen, if you would just grab those. And we're going to do a little challenge. I'd like you to write your name 5 times with your dominant hand. Write your name 5 times with your dominant hand. And if you could give me a kind of a thumbs up when you're ready, you're done. We'll look for a few more heads up. Excellent. Well, thank you for doing that. Now I will ask you to write your name 5 times with your non-dominant hand. Write your name 5 times with your non-dominant hand. Oh, this takes a little bit longer. And I see smiles. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Now, you may have noticed that writing with your dominant hand was fluid and easy, mindless, right? Our talents feel natural to us. They are a part of our ordinary lives, but they are not ordinary in and of themselves. Now, on the other hand, writing with your non-dominant hand may have felt awkward and clumsy. Friends, we have a tendency to focus on weakness. If writing with your non-dominant hand is like a weakness, does it feel awkward and clumsy when we're asked to approach a task from a place of weakness? Imagine now in our working relationships with our colleagues and our employees. By the way, some of you may have experienced your signature getting better over the course of writing your name 5 times with your non-dominant hand. Could we get better if we practiced writing with our non-dominant hand? Of course. But how much effort would be required to get our signature to look like it does with our dominant hand? Alternatively, when you look at the signatures with your dominant hand, are they different? They're probably pretty similar. And that's because coming from a place of strength, we provided consistent, near perfect performance. Experts and researchers in the field have uncovered 3 myths which persist in both our personal lives and in the world of business, each of which has the potential to drain our personal effectiveness if we believe them. Have you ever believed any of these? Yeah, William? Feel free to share. I'm open to hearing your thoughts. Which one stands out for you?
Probably to me, the good team members probably stands out the
The good
most.
team members do whatever is required.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Hi, I don't believe this now, but I think maybe 5, 6 years ago, I think I believed that your personality changes as you kind of age and mature and, enter the work world and become an adult. Like you must your personality must evolve. And I don't necessarily believe that now, but I did
We
before.
did at some point. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you, Lindsay. Okay. And then we had a couple more in the chat as well. For number 2, that you grow the most in the areas where you're weakest, and a couple more in that believe, the third one, that good team members do whatever it takes. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I'm hoping to convince you otherwise in just a moment here, and share with you the truths that again, researchers who have studied these concepts are saying to be true. So what we know is that as you grow, you become more of who you already are. Your values, your skills, your self-awareness, and some of your behaviors, yes, may change, but the most dominant aspects of your personality will remain the same. Secondly, you will grow the most in your areas of greatest strength. You will be the most inquisitive, the most resilient, the most creative, and the most open to learning in your areas of greatest strength, where you experience your natural talents. And then thirdly, a good team member deliberately volunteers his or her strengths to the team most of the time. A great team member specifically is not well-rounded. The great team overall is well-rounded, precisely because each great team member is not. Any additional thoughts?
I have a quick question, but I can hold it if you'd rather we wait.
I'm going to stop in a few minutes, Lindsay,
Okay.
for questions. So,
Okay, I can hold it. Thanks.
okay, all right, okay, excellent. Thank you. All right, so let's continue here, and I want you to know that when individuals know, understand, and use their strengths every day, they can expect productivity to be higher, individual performance to be higher. They will be more engaged at work. Gallup tells us that we will be 6 times more engaged at work, and will experience high teamwork. In fact, probably will be part of a high-performing team. Why? Because it's contagious in the best possible way. It has a ripple effect. When I know my strengths, I start to get curious about the strengths of the people on my team, and I invite their strengths to come and play in our work together. And then they get curious, and it has this beautiful ripple effect that transcends into our families and our communities, and just a wonderful place and way to be. So I invite you to consider, which of the truths about strengths will you embrace today? Erica had me come in to conduct a half-day strengths workshop for her team of 6. They work in a creative, fast-paced, deadline-driven environment, and as you can imagine, tensions can arise, especially under pressure. So seeing each other's strengths went a really long way to foster better understanding and collaboration, appreciation for, and the ability to utilize each other's unique perspectives. So a little history. Where did focusing on strengths come from, this concept? Psychologists back in the 1950s realized that all they knew about people is what's wrong with them. They had labels for all of our maladies, all of our diseases. Then they started to notice these pockets of excellence, moments of extraordinary performance, and they realized we don't know anything about that. Donald Clifton, now called the father of strengths-based psychology and the grandfather of positive psychology, had the audacity to ask this question: what will happen when we think about what's right with people rather than fixating on what's wrong with them? this one question launched a worldwide research project, which led to the development of a universal language for the descriptions of 34 general talent themes. That is, hundreds and hundreds of talents were uncovered, and they were encompassed and grouped accordingly under the 34 general themes. Now, this research also then led to the development of the Clifton Strengths Assessment, which upon completion ranks all 34 talent themes for you in the order of dominance. And for your initial investment, it reports back to you your top 5 talent themes out of the 34, which is all you need to get started on your personal strengths journey. And the strengths movement is now in full bloom. All disciplines, business, government, education, healthcare, profits, nonprofits, universities, even Major League Soccer has a strengths-based coaching course. Oh, one moment here, let me finish this thought for you. Referees learn to give out green cards to attract attention to good passes or tackles versus the yellow and red punitive cards. It's fascinating. In fact, more than 28 million people have taken the Clifton Strengths Assessment. With that high number of completions, we are clearly hungry and feel a deep need to label what is right with us. Yet in a recent poll, still only 17% of us are playing to our strengths most of the time. So it seems that we may still be stuck at the labeling stage. A nationally represented sample of the workforce was asked what their ideal job is. So 60% said either what I'm doing now with some increased responsibility or a specialized subset of what I'm doing now. So only 31% said a different job. So it's true. Some people have been miscast, but most people are close. What I'd like to draw your attention to, though, is the second bullet below. When asked how often they feel an emotional high at work, only 51% said about once a week. Friends, that's half of us or our teams only once a week getting excited about our work. We can't win on just once a week. Imagine what could change if you and your team were excited even 3 times per week. What would become possible? Let me share with you that having someone at work who regularly focuses on your strengths can make a dramatic difference. Can you imagine if there was only a 1% chance of disengagement? I worked with Natalie one-on-one and also did a workshop for her team. She decided to invest in strengths to continue to grow as a leader and prepare for other transitions in her life. There were lots of personal aha moments and a special bonding experience for her team that really created a more cohesive, effective working environment. Once again, just highlighting the journey that we go on from uncovering our strengths to understanding what is effective and ineffective use of my strengths, self-acuity, others' acuity, and then positive intelligence. And now I'd love to open it up for questions. We can go for about 5 to 7 minutes. So Lindsay, take it away.
Okay, thanks. So I kind of have 2 questions. Is that okay? All right. So I think on one of the slides you said that your strengths get amplified with age. Something to that effect. At what point do you think, like at what age do you think our strengths start to come to fruition? Like, is there a magic number, or is it kind of like, was that not part of the study? I'm selfishly asking because my kids are 5 and 7, and I'm like, when will I know? Like, is it already there, or do I wait a few years?
That is just an absolutely fascinating question. I can share with you what I know.
Okay.
there is a Strengths Explorer assessment for children ages 10 to 14.
Okay.
So that is when I would assume, given that that's the recommendation, that at age 10, that they would, this would be a good, that's when they start to, they're old enough to complete an assessment, a short one, a much shorter one with only, instead of the 34, there would be only 10 high-level themes. They're old enough to be able to recognize and see and answer those questions. However, as a parent, there are things that you might start noticing and seeing now.
Yeah.
Right. And a great book that I would recommend is Strengths-Based Parenting.
Oh, I like
Where
that.
you will, there will be some really beautiful insights on things to start noticing, paying attention to, and ways to speak to your children so
Yeah.
that they are focusing on the positive, and you're enhancing those opportunities for them to show up at their, just elevating them.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the next question is, I know you're a coach, I'm a coach, we have a couple coaches on the call. So should the focus be that don't let your weaknesses derail you, because we can't really strengthen your weaknesses? Like, for instance, if I'm working with someone who's not very empathetic, how much could I really help that person improve that empathy muscle if we don't really get better in our weaknesses? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we, as human beings, we have a capacity to grow, right? There will be some activities that I am weak in, right? They're not my strengths. Might not be too much of a, if I don't grow in that area, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to impact my relationships or my work performance. So probably not worth spending a lot of time in that area. There are some areas that it would behoove me. It would be to my benefit and to the benefit of relationships that I work a little bit, I put a little bit more energy into. Empathy it might be one of them. And there is, what's really beautiful, Lindsay, and would love to talk with you perhaps offline sometime about the concept of positive intelligence is an opportunity for us to, even if empathy does not come naturally for us or to us, it is a way for us to tap into empathy.
Okay.
So it's a judgment call. There are some, right? There are some talents and gifts or areas of weakness that are worth putting a little bit more energy into.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for those questions.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyone else would love to hear, what are you noticing, discovering? What's important to you about this way of leading?
I'll share something. I run a nonprofit organization. That's my full-time job. And I had hired a young man about a year ago and for a specific role. And it became apparent, a couple of months in, that he, to be blunt, is the most unorganized human being, but he's a great person. And he's very talented in the other half of his job, in curriculum development and facilitation. So instead of just trying to get the round peg in the square hole, I shifted his duties and building him more into what he's good at. And he's thriving, he's shining, he's happy, he's showing up positive every day. And it's like the slide you shared about, if you focus on your team's strengths, the engagement with it does work.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to just make them conform and do something. So I found another one of my staff who's super organized, and we've got them teamed up together. Can't hear
Poster child right here.
you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's how it's supposed to work. There's Marcus Buckingham, who is one of the thought leaders behind the whole strengths movement. I worked very closely with Donald Clifton. I'd highly recommend you follow him if you haven't heard of him yet. He is he teaches us to. He has an acronym called STOP. Well, how do we stop our weaknesses? So if there's an activity that you don't absolutely need to be doing, S is for stop. Just stop doing it. If you can team up with somebody who is strengthened by that activity, then that's the way to go. And you're always encouraged to look for opportunities to volunteer your strengths and ways to use them. And then finally, well, sometimes we can work on mitigating around our weaknesses, to look at them from a different light. So perceive is the P in the STOP acronym. And instead of focusing on the area of weakness, well, how can I mitigate around it? How can I elevate my strengths to a point where I make the weakness irrelevant? An example he gives is this woman who she was responsible for doing this expense report for her team. She absolutely dreaded this activity every single time. She has competition in her top 5. So what they did is they just started to shift. Well, how can she look at this expense report like a game, and working to do her personal best with every single report? Or how can she encourage others on the team to submit their expenses prior, a little bit earlier? How can she ensure that it's even with more accuracy every single time? And just so changing it into playing to her strength of competition, she was able to get to a point where she could almost enjoy this activity. Instead of she's no longer dreading it. Now she's applying her natural gifts to a task and performing well, and growing her enjoyment in completing that activity. Just another way to, Lindsay, to think about mitigating around areas of weakness. How do we elevate our strengths, grow them to a point where we minimize the impact of the weakness in our lives? Any other thoughts or questions before we move on?
I was just wondering, as we're working with team members who maybe we see their strengths and weaknesses, but they maybe don't see their own strengths and weaknesses, how is it best to approach them and support them by, maybe helping them with some of the areas where they aren't so strong, or offering that support? Or, how do you politely say, like, listen, this is not your strength, let's figure out a different plan? So what's your suggestion around dealing with that from a management perspective and or as a teammate perspective?
Well, certainly having an external assessment like the Clifton Strengths it's not coming necessarily from you. Now it would be coming from an external source, and then you could look at that objectively together. The one thing I would say, Jennifer, is that it's important that the areas of strength are definitely highlighted and celebrated and encouraged and invited in the overall work for the team for as much as you can. If there are opportunities to shift job responsibilities when you have more clarity about strengths and areas of weakness and have had a conversation, then that would be wonderful as well. I think the most important thing is to celebrate areas of strength and where they're excelling, and with your very, very gentle and kind demeanor. When this is out of, it's for their well-being and job satisfaction as well as, for the overall impact on the team and your work together. So definitely feel there are ways to speak about this openly without judgment. I think that's the most important thing, that it's not a judgment, or I'm not judging that you may not be as strong in this area. For your benefit and for the team, what are some things that we could do and brainstorm together for everyone's benefit? The key is no judgment. Appreciate that question. Thank you. All right. Appreciate everyone's input and questions and success stories. So thank you. Let's shift now into how to lead with strengths. What are the necessary steps to get there? First and foremost, you have to know and own your own strengths. Where you operate from, how you contribute, also what you need in order to perform and serve at your best. Now, this is the first step to leading with strengths. I'll invite you to we'll take a short minute here, give you, would love for you, we're going to start taking you in that direction of uncovering and knowing and owning your strengths. So let's just do a short exercise. Think back over the last couple of weeks. Go back a little further if you need to. What activities did you look forward to? Did you enjoy? And that made you feel strong? Give you about a minute here to jot those down. Write them down and hang on to them. We're gonna come back and refer to them in a moment. Appreciate you doing that. In strengths-based leadership, Rath and Kanchi, the authors, are quoted to say, "Without an awareness of your strengths, it's almost impossible for you to lead effectively." We all lead in different ways, based on our talents and our limitations. Serious problems occur when we think we need to be exactly like the leaders we admire. Doing so takes us out of our natural element and practically eliminates our chances of success. They give the examples of Winston Churchill and Mahatma Gandhi. Now, when you look at these two great historical leaders, you might notice more differences than similarities. It's the differences that defined their success. Churchill's leadership was bold and commanding. Gandhi was calm and quiet. Had either of them tried to emulate the other's approach, neither would have succeeded. Both men knew their strengths and used them wisely. A leader needs to know his strengths as a carpenter knows his tools, or as a physician knows the instruments at her disposal. What great leaders have in common is that each truly knows his or her strengths and can call on the right strength at the right time. In strengths-based leadership, the authors organized, again, the 34 talent themes into 4 domains of leadership strength. Each domain describes how strengths can be leveraged in leadership for the effectiveness of the organization or any group that you are in. The first two are task-oriented, strategic thinking and executing. The second two are relationship-oriented, influencing and relationship building. So in essence, our strategic thinkers, as shown here, they're the ones who keep us focused on the possibilities, on what could be. Folks with executing strengths know how to make things happen. They take that vision and execute on it. Our influencers, they're the ones that sell the team's ideas both inside and outside the organization. And our relationship builders, they are the essential glue that hold the team together. Now, Rath and Kanchi they share firsthand accounts from some of the most successful organizational leaders in recent history, from the founder of Teach for America to the president of the Ritz-Carlton, as they discuss how their unique strengths have driven their success. And something really important to know is that not any one of these 4 domains is better than or more useful than the other. The point is that their success came from being true to themselves by aligning to how they contribute best, not like someone or anyone else. Let's take it a step further. Let's talk about a foundational concept in understanding the application of strengths. The first half of this concept is that our strengths determine the kinds of contributions we will make. You see here the types of contributions that are typical of each of the 4 domains. Again, these are high level according to each domain. Each of the specific strengths, as they're categorized in each of the domains, each of the strengths make very specific contributions. These are high level. Our strategic thinkers create possibilities, provide us with direction, information, and ideas. Our folks with executing strengths provide us with concrete reality, details, goals, processes. Our influencers convince, ignite, enroll, and energize us. And our relationship builders connect, invite, listen, and accept. Now, as you consider the contributions that you naturally make, you might have picked up on 1 or 2 of these and say, hey, you know, I kind of do that. I show up like this. I contribute in this way. I'm curious to know if they relate to or are similar to some of the things that you might have written down earlier, the activities that you look forward to, that you enjoyed doing, or that made you feel strong. And would love to, if 1 or 2, would love to hear from you if that's the, did you see a correlation between those things? I saw a couple of nods as I was, feel free to share if you would like.
Well, I'll share because I thought it was interesting without really thinking about what my strengths were when I first just looked at this. It was interesting to see that 3 of my strengths ended up under the executing for task, because that just seemed to fit with what I do and what I like to do. So I could definitely see how that works for me. And then I had 1 each in the relationship.
Okay.
And I think back to Althea, because I think she was the first one that always said that I was the glue that held BNSME together, and always kind of made me laugh. But I saw that was one of the
in black
things
and white right here in front of us. Fabulous, fabulous. Excellent. Thank you, Jean. So I do hope that you're noticing some correlations. You're taking baby steps in uncovering your gifts and your talents and your strengths. The second half of this foundational concept is this. In order for you to make these awesome contributions, certain needs and conditions need to be met. For example, our strategic thinkers need room to imagine, to have that high level why and what, give and share information, explore ideas and their meaning. Executing, you'll start to notice that similar to how you contribute, that will give you some clues as to what it is that you might need in order to perform. Executing, practical, applicable. They need a step-by-step guide. They provide us with goals. They also need goals. Provide us with processes. They need systems, processes, procedures, and rules. Our influencers need to be able to verbally process their ideas, to be connected to something important. They need validation. They need energy. They provide us with energy. They need it in return. Our relationship builders need authentic relationship. They need encouragement. They're amazing listeners. They also need someone to listen. And they need to be in a place of non-judgment. It's really important for you to understand and recognize when your needs are being met, so you see where you find fulfillment and are performing great, so that you can do more of that. Also, for you to recognize when they're not being met, where you may experience frustration, so you can ask for what you need, to explore how to get them met so you can perform at your best. And I will invite you, Jean did send out a sheet with the strengths categorized according to domain. So I would encourage you to go ahead and pull that out and circle your top 5 strengths and refer back to it and give some thought to how it is that you contribute and times when you've noticed frustrations or when you might have needed something that you didn't, where needs might not have been met, and start to give some thought to, again, growing your self-awareness in this area. So now that we have again, we're growing our self-awareness, we've taken some serious steps to begin uncovering our own strengths. Let's consider step number 2. And here's where it gets more sophisticated and where true change for your organization occurs. When you know your team's strengths and you know how to navigate between your strengths and theirs, the key is learning how to navigate both. As a leader, that's what you do. It doesn't happen overnight. That is becoming fluent in the language of strengths. It takes work, intentionality, curiosity, and meaningful conversation, and it's worth it. The research shows that the most effective leaders are always investing in strengths. They surround themselves with the right people and maximize their strengths, and they understand their followers' needs. Your team will follow and support you to the nth degree when you invest in yourself and them, when you make the effort to create that environment. Here's what you can expect, what it can look like. Let's take a look at engagement, that is productivity and happiness at work. If you're able to help the people you lead focus on their strengths, it will dramatically boost engagement levels throughout your organization. If you focus on people's weaknesses, they lose confidence, because at a very basic level, it is hard for us to build self-confidence when we're focused on our weaknesses instead of our strengths. Mary Kravitz is the owner of a company called Simply Get Clients. She's based in California. She has a great team. They're very dedicated, but they're geographically scattered. They're all working remotely, and she was investing a lot in their skills training, and realized that, wow, losing one of them could significantly stall out her business. So she was looking for ways to create more cohesiveness, more productivity, so that her team would love working for the company so much they'd never want to leave, and she wouldn't lose the investment of all of this training that she has been giving them. What she found is that during our work together, what the team told her is that, and you could just tell, that they felt so valued because Mary was providing deep personal growth training. It wasn't just about work, but actually their whole life. And Mary told me it forced her to slow down. Now, she is a self-identified taskmaster. So slowing down for some personal reflection was time that she needed to take with the team that she wasn't taking before. And it really gave all of them a new way to bond with each other. One of the outcomes is that as they got to know their strengths, they got clearer about how to ask for what they need, when they got stuck or felt frustrated. They are more interdependent with each other instead of always going to her with questions. So there's definitely a strong feeling of trust and connection. Now, when Mary needs to have a difficult conversation, she also has a guide with the personal strengths content for all of her team that helps her have the conversation more effectively. So there is less resistance and a lot more buy-in. So overall, the team is happier, more productive, and more dedicated than ever before. So, all right, you may be thinking that's great for Mary, for Natalie, for Erica. What's next for you? Let's create some clear next steps together to ensure lasting impact from the time that we are spending together today. First, what's one bite-sized action you can take? Take a moment to think about that and look over any notes you might have taken. Write it down. One bite-sized action you can take today. Now, bite-sized is great. But let's imagine something bigger together. If you would, go ahead and just close your eyes. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Imagine the flow of your day, your week, all of your interactions. Things are humming along. Your team feels seen and appreciated. They love working with you, for you. Everyone on the team is productive, happy, feels great about their work. It's a safe environment. People can just be themselves, contributing from their best. When difficulties arise, you know you can, with a level head, work through anything because you have a common language and understanding and deep appreciation for each other. You see the best in people around you, are truly enjoying them, celebrating them. Productivity soars, the business is growing. You are making a difference in the world and positively impacting lives inside and outside your office. Open your eyes and take a breath. Is that a vision you can get excited about? Fabulous, fabulous. So that's wonderful. Now that you're clear and inspired, the next question is, how do you stay focused and motivated when you leave our Zoom session today? And you head into the rest of your day? I know what your inbox looks like. The reality is that the focus that you have right now can go out the window within minutes, if not seconds, of ending our call. So at this point, it's important to identify what kind of support you have to help you implement and stay on track. When you're thinking about what you want and need, who do you have in your corner who has accomplished what you want to accomplish and is there for you when you need them? Now, some of you may have a coach or a mentor already, but for those of you who don't, I invite you to consider working with me. Now, this isn't for everyone. If you're looking to create a space where you and your team are operating from peak happiness and peak productivity, loving work and truly supporting each other with no thoughts of leaving, let's talk. Simply schedule a call with me to explore working together further. The call is complimentary. There are a limited number, and they're reserved for people who want to live and lead from strengths and a positive mindset. They're ready to put themselves out there and invest in themselves and or their team. They're decisive, driven, and willing to work. Now, this call is a great option if you're feeling stuck or know you need some kind of support, but can't really picture what that looks like. If that sounds like you, I will walk you through a process to get clear on what it is that you need. Then we'll decide together how to help you maximize your opportunities. I take this time because working together is an investment of time and money, and I want you to be 100% confident that I'm the right fit for you. Does that sound fair? All right. So to schedule your call, go ahead to this Calendly link I think that Jean posted it, so thank you. It's a simple scheduling page. Pick the day and most convenient time and boom, you're done. One less thing to think about. And it puts you first in line. And in case you're thinking, this sounds interesting, maybe I'll do it later. I want to give you some incentive to do it. So do it now. So all of this good intention and clarity doesn't get lost in the shuffle of the rest of your day. So book your call today, and I will get you copies of two of my favorite coaching tools to help you start noticing and start tuning into your strengths for creative problem solving. Are there any questions about the purpose of the call? All right. So it is time for our raffle prize. And the lucky winner today will receive an electronic version of the book called Ennobling Business for Success. I was one of 14 co-authors in producing this book. My chapter is called Hidden Potential. And I'm super excited for one of you to have it. We have an entry form for the giveaway. And we'll have a fun way to determine our winner here. And fabulous. I see some names coming in. Wonderful. While you're doing that, I'm going to come back to this in just a second. Let me just wrap up with you, and then we'll announce the winner here. I want you to know how special you are. Did you know that you can do one thing better than 10,000 other people? And the chances that you will find someone with the same top 5 strengths that you have in the same order that you have them is 1 in 33 million. When you extrapolate that out to your top 10, which you have ready access to, the chances are 1 in 427 trillion. You are unique and you have something important and significant to contribute to our world. So show up with your strengths. The invitation is for you to start noticing and start having the conversations, to focus on strengths building instead of weakness fixing. I am going to grab, oh no, why did it sign me out? There we go. Fabulous. So we have one moment here while I pull up the names that came in, and we will do our prize drawing. I just wanted to give you a second also to grab contact information. And we will do our prize drawing and send everybody off. So true. Yes, we are all 1 in a million, Lindsay. Absolutely. Yeah, pretty amazing stats. 1 minute here while I get to, I don't know why it decided to log me out. Super excited to see who wins. Pull this back over. And almost there. Come on. There we go. Fabulous. Let's see. Thank you so much for entering. And let's have a go at it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Michaela, awesome. Wonderful. Congratulations. Super excited to share the book with you.
Thank you.
And just want to say thank you again so much for having me. for participating, for your thoughtful insights. And again, everyone is a winner. I look forward to sharing with you getting started with strengths. And I will leave you with this last thought. As we close our time together, my wish for you is that you will rise to your strength's edge because it's in you. Thank you so much for having me.
Noreen, thank
Thank
you
you
so
very much.
much.